Pat, today we're going to talk about fans, followers, and other foolishness. That's going to be the topic, man.
Absolutely.
With this social media craze going, everybody's so concerned with how many fans do I have? How many followers do I have? How many likes? How many retweets? How many plus ones? How many everything? And it's a bunch of foolishness, really. In the whole scheme of things, especially if you don't know why you're doing it. So
yeah, it used to be a time where one of the primary goals for participating in social media was to grow your following. And in fact, as me and you both know, there were companies, probably small businesses as well, that were actually buying likes, buying followers. But what it turns out is when you don't have the real relationship to extract value. So if those likes and followers are bots, robots don't buy products and services. People do, human beings do. So
that's true.
And they eventually got to the point where they realized that the value of buying for, social purposes online didn't equate to sales and revenue. So that's where the foolishness came in.
Yeah. And even with people, the right people, I remember so many times you would see these viral videos and they would get so many hits. And it was one of those things where you would ask, are they really going to purchase that product? Or are people just watching it because it's a funny video? Are people following because they have a personality that's very, interesting, but they're not engaging with the brand? So, it really becomes looking at the end goal, the purpose versus just the numbers. And I'm going to be honest, I've dipped and dabbed in a little bit of seeing how the buying followers work and seeing how the buying fans and, everything from scripts and bots to individuals that have a network that basically they just go out to all their network and say, hey, follow this one person and then charge you for that. But those people aren't really customers. They're not really even prospects. They're not engaged at all. They're just getting your numbers up.
Yeah. And, social media it's no longer if I should be on social media. It's you need to be. It's a must. And in fact, it's a must only because the customer's behavior and the way that they interact with it day to day, we're in the attention business, right? And if you're not just trying to sell a product or service that no one knows about. So we're all in the attention business. And then you try to hope that that attention will lead to trust. So companies have to be on social media. Small business owners have to be on social media in order to be in the places that prospects and customers' eyes and ears are. It's that simple. You cannot afford not to be on there. But in terms of the way that you participate in the activities, now that's where that me and you've talked about where the foolishness comes in, is that you can't just be buying. You can't buy your way to success.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some best practices then. To start off, first of all, the first thing that you should do is have a goal. Actually know where do you want to go with your social media plan. Like you just said, everybody should be on it, but just being on it isn't enough. So actually sitting down and saying, with my social media, this is the actual end result that I'm looking for. And so, write it down, have a team, brainstorm to say, this is what we're looking at for our social media. So that's the first thing I would say. What will be the next thing you would think of, Pat?
Well, I would say from where I sit in the small business owners world, it really comes down to less is more. And Kevin Kelly had a thing for musicians called the 1,000 True Fans. And I think for the small business owner, it's the 100 True Fans. You know, you need to focus, you need to stop promoting and start listening to 100 true customers, right? The people that come and buy from you consistently, that they understand the value, they already know, like, and trust you, and they already referred you. And dig deep into the psyche of why, you know, what do they really care about when they're on social? What do they like? What do they promote? What are they talking about? And if you can transform those 100, you know, the 100 turns into 10,000 because those 100 people will get 100 more people, you know. But I think shifting from how many to who is really where the small business owner is going to excel when it comes to setting some goals for social media. I would say for them, that's important. Next, you know, as what you was mentioning, it comes down to once you develop the plan, you got to implement it. And I know you're the outsourcing expert. You may be able to have some automation tools or services, places where companies and organizations can go. What would you say concerning that?
Well, I mean, as far as implementation, I would like to say stop. Take a step back before we start implementing. The thing is, let's go back to what you said before about knowing who. So the first thing you should implement is a process to identify who. You should be on social listening to see who's talking about what you provide or pains that they have within your industry. So you can then identify that 100, that who, and that's small and large companies. You need to first be able to see who that is. And now that you know who that is, now you can say, what platforms are they on? And how can we get involved in the game? Because a lot of times, you know, we'll say, okay, we'll do the 100. And what they'll do is they'll just Google a term, or they'll go into Twitter search a term, or Facebook search a term. And then they say, oh, these are our customers. And that's not really how you do it. You need to find out, like you say, the psyche. You need to understand who's talking, who has a need, what is that need, who are influencers. Now you put together this plan of these are end customers. These are those that influence them. This is what they're listening to, what they want to talk about. Now, how can we position ourselves in there? And should we be on this platform, that platform? And once you have that knowledge, then you can start putting together the plan and implementing the plan. And one thing I want to state, don't always believe your analytics. You should have your analytics, always have your analytics. A lot of them don't even look at the numbers. So it's all just up in the air theory. I mean, up in the air, we're just going to do what we want. Have your numbers, but numbers, they say men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Well, in this case, numbers won't show you the psyche, though. Numbers won't show you the psyche. I can give you some key terms that will get your numbers up. Doesn't mean that they're interested. It just means that they'll get your numbers up. You know, one of the greats just left us. Two of the greats just left us. Muhammad Ali just left us. Prince just left us. Post anything about that, your numbers are going up. Doesn't mean that they're going to buy whatever you're selling. It just means they're interested in that topic. So your analytics should be looked at in its proper perspective, and you should understand the psyche. And so take the time, and that's the thing that Pat and I talk about a lot, that companies seem to not want to do, and that's take the time to step back, listen, and understand your audience first before you start putting together this plan and start running full speed, not knowing what direction you really want to go.
Yeah, Jeff, I think it comes back down to when it comes to marketing, it's truly methods, not miracles. It's anybody that's saying get rich quick, get leads by tomorrow, found today. Those solutions don't work. It's putting in the hard work, getting your hands dirty, stepping out of the clouds and getting into the dirt. It's, marketing is not easy. It's hard because it's all about action. I tell small business owners all the time. You want to play in the marketing world, it's action. That's truly, it's the right action. If you don't reach out to a customer, you're not going to get a result. If you don't participate in conversations that are already happening in social media, you're not going to get feedback. It's all about what you do and what you say. Nothing else is going to, methods, not miracles.
That's true. And even in the large space, in the larger company space, you can't always just throw money at it. You can't always just say, well, we're just going to throw this big budget at it and let it filter itself out. Sometimes you have to be efficient, being effective and efficient. That's really key. And then we can get into the implementation. I know Pat, he's a man of action. He's like, when are we going to implement? But yeah, definitely implementation is the only way you're going to succeed. Because if you don't implement, you're not going to succeed. And there are some tools out there that can automate things. But before you start getting all into automating things, first you understand what the target is to hit, then you understand the process, and then you put those tools in place. Because there's tools that can schedule your post. There's tools that can reply for you. There's outsourcing that can actually do everything for you at a cost that's real economical. There's tools that actually can run the entire social campaign for you in autopilot. But here's the thing. Just like I was just looking, Pat, at the other day at those self-driving cars. They are nice. But you hop in that self-driving car, how does the self-driving car know where you're going? You just hop in, press ignition. Now everything's push start. So you press ignition and you expect to get to your destination, but you don't know where you're going. So the car is just going to drive. And it's the same thing with these tools. They're just going to go. They'll turn. But at the end of the month, when you're looking at your report and you want to see your numbers and you want to see actual ROI, then you're wondering what went wrong. Well, you didn't go through all the steps. You just plugged in a couple of posts, hit schedule, let it fly. So you definitely want to walk through each step, and you're going to fail sometimes. So have your checks and balances, have your people. I have to give a definite thank you to my friend, mentor, Scott Nichols. That's my accountability partner. Pat, he's my accountability partner. Marv, that's my accountability partner. Anna, those are my accountability partners to say, hey, we noticed this and it doesn't look right. Something stinks. There was a time I was automating and I was sending out about 6, 7 posts an hour. And they were like, come on, man, something stinks, But I realized I was scheduling on an RSS feed. Then that RSS feed was combined with a couple of other RSS feeds. And I was using a awesome tool, love this tool, Hootsuite. But it was running, and those 6 RSS feeds were sending a post an hour, and I didn't realize that. So it was sending out 6 posts for me an hour. And it made it seem as if I was just going up posts for no reason. And it wasn't a good way of doing it. Now, I was implementing, but it wasn't a good way of doing it because I was trying to take a quick way out versus going back and saying, if I have something to say, make it something worthwhile. If not, you don't always have to be on.
And that's actually, it's funny because I was going to create a video this morning talking about why social media doesn't work and what to do about it. And the premise of the video was to talk about The only reason that social media isn't working is because you aren't providing value to your customer, your end consumer, to your audience. And that's the number one thing. It's stunning to me that a lot of businesses are still promoting, it's not educating. And they're just out by that, consult with me, but they have no content, no updates about bringing value. And when I say bringing value comes in different forms. You could bring value by showing someone how to do something. You could be motivational. You can create motivational content, inspirational, encouraging, laughter, right? You could bring value through entertainment. You can bring value so many ways. But when you don't bring value, you're not going to see results from social media. That's the king. Value is king, not content. If you can push out a bunch of content, but if it's not valuable to your customer, because you don't get to pick whether it's valuable or not. And that's where I see a lot of business owners, to me, it's stunning again that they have this sense of, I know this, so I have a sense of entitlement. And if I put it out there, you should know it's valuable. No.
Yeah.
You don't get to choose. You don't get to pick. They pick whether that's valuable or not you. So
and the only way to know it's valuable is, once again, to understand your audience. And the only way you're going to understand your audience is to listen. To go out there and see what they want.
Yeah, and I want to give an example of what we mean by understanding your audience. And I'm going to use my company, Indispensable Marketing, as an example, because I went through this yesterday when I had 2 one-on-ones with partners, and they wanted to know, what does an ideal client look like for Indispensable Marketing? And I was able to not just say that the employees are less, they're doing probably a half to 20 million. Those things they're great. When I was able to talk about, they have outdated marketing material. They're typically looking to do a revamp or update to their website. They're tired of marketing services calling on them, selling them their dreams, selling them their hopes. The owner is responsible for the marketing, right? That's getting real detail into who our customers are, and what do they really care about. That's what we mean. We're about really getting deep into the psyche. My customers are learners. Indispensable Marketing, we like to work with people who like to learn. They care about customer experience. They've had a track record of success. They feel stuck. So that's what we really mean.
Yeah, and the great thing about social is everybody feels important, so everybody's talking, and they're going to tell you what's valuable to them. They're going to say, for instance, I want to get in shape, and I'm looking to get in shape. So I'm letting you know that fitness videos, health food videos may be of interest to me. I may be saying, today I came back from the doctor and he said I needed to work on my fitness, because if not, I'm going to be in the hospital soon, so get in shape. Well, if you're a healthcare provider, not a healthcare provider, but you provide healthcare supplements and what personal training and diet plans, things of that nature, I just told you I'm interested in that. Now, if you come to me and say, I have the best, let's say, chicken and waffles in town, might not be your customer because I'm trying to get in shape. But if you were to come back and say, let me give you 10 quick tips for a person that's an entrepreneur or a business owner or a CEO with a busy schedule that doesn't have time to cook, here's 10 quick ways that you can eat healthy, of interest. Told you I'm trying to get in shape. You know from my other posts that I'm a busy person because of my schedule and so forth and so on, things I talk about. And there's so many other examples that you can see, but to listen to that, you know what to offer. I tell people like this: it's like having a hamburger business and you're offering hamburgers to a vegetarian, but they're not veggie burgers. You're wasting your time. You can talk all day about burgers, but you're wasting your time.
Well, and this also, I know we weren't going to dive into it, but I think personalization, right? So what we're talking about is making your marketing customized to attract your ideal customer. And when it comes to that, I've seen just from the smaller side, and even with large organizations, I think what's happening is that marketing, whether it's you or the department, should be creating the content based off the customer profiles that the salespeople help create because they're customer facing. So they can tell you what are the real issues at hand. Now, what I do believe should happen, because I just read a report that said that marketing is failing at personalizing the content to the customer. And I'm like, well, they should, because what's really should be happening is that marketers should be getting the information from the salespeople about what's really going on in the world of a customer, an ideal customer. Then once content is created, the salesperson, which is interacting with the client day in and day out, should be picking up bits and pieces of the content that marketing's creating and saying, hey, Mr. Prospect, when we talked about this, I was able to find, here's some information on that topic. So the salesperson should be the one personalizing the content to the customer's needs. So the marketing pushes out as much content as they need based off the ideal profile. But then it's up to the salesperson. Go ahead.
It goes to what you're saying. It's relationship marketing. See, marketing so much goes back in the days to push marketing. We're going to push and tell you what you're going to want. But today's time, especially with social media, it's relationship marketing. And your salespeople have a relationship. Your customer service people have a relationship. Your social team, if they're doing it right, have a relationship because they're out there engaging with the individuals. Marketing departments usually have witty people that went to college that are very smart at slogans, catchphrases, colorful pictures and graphics, and we're going to trick you into buying something. And nobody likes to be manipulated. Nobody. And if they feel as if they're manipulated, it's a problem. And especially nowadays with the personalization, if you do it right, you can actually make a person feel as if you know them personally, and that message is crafted specifically for them at the right time. And they really feel as if, hey, man, I'm surprised they sent me this. I was just thinking about that versus the old way where you're just going to see these pretty ads and these, these pretty emails, and you're going to see all this continuously pushed at you until you buy. So that's pretty much going to only happen if you know your audience. And if the more you get into it, the better you get at it, the more you can craft it with different personas where these different people think that you really actually are talking directly to them at that time.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, we've given them enough today. We've given them something to think about. And I mean, let's put it like this. If you think that your social media marketing is or is not working, the best way to know is to go out there and look how much engagement you have, put your analytics in place correctly, and look at how that path goes, how the channel path goes. Does it hit your end goal? And if it's not hitting your end goal, tweak it. It didn't fail. It only fails if you quit it. It didn't fail, just tweak it. Tweak it until it starts working. But, you can't just, social media, unfortunately, is not a set it and forget it type of method. It really isn't. And what's your catchphrase again, Pat?
You talking about method?
It's a method, not a miracle.
Yeah, methods, not miracles.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, we thank you for listening. This is Jeff Bill, Mr. Marketology, and Patrick McFadden from Indispensable Marketing. We'll be providing you these little tips and tidbits throughout the year. Hopefully you're gaining value from it. And if not, we'll know because we're going to be listening.
Absolutely.